Alright, a little bit of a different video today, but the main goal is still going to be advice. I have played and written multiple D&D campaigns, and I have enjoyed each of them that I have played. But as a critic, you have to be able to dissect the things you enjoy and pick out the pieces that were unenjoyable. And in each D&D campaign I have experienced, there has been a prophecy, and every time that prophecy has made the campaign worse. So today I will be discussing what a prophecy is, why we feel the need to put them in our games, why we shouldn't put them in our games, and throughout I will share some of my own experiences to help exemplify my points. So, we are all familiar with prophecies in general, I am sure. They are stories within the world of the story we are experiencing that tell of a soul hero who will come and vanquish the darkness. Or they often tell of an ancient weapon and how only by that power that weapon and a hero can save the day. Prophecies are also often used to allude to the audience a character's fate in the story through an eerie fortune reading. And these prophecies are tools that a writer uses in a number of ways. They often explain the story, set the stakes, or allow that classic moment where an unlikely hero can say, "Oh, me? I am really the hero you've all been looking for? Well, shucks, I'll do my best." Or, "Hold on, nope, there is absolutely no way that is me. I'm just a regular guy. You are looking for somebody else. There has been a mistake." And I have had all of these prophecies put into my D&D games. In my own campaign that I wrote myself, I put both the classic, "You are the chosen heroes of the prophecy, meant to slay the dragons and defeat Vecna," and probably even worse, the, "I'm a crazy old lady. Here is your personal fortune. Listen to it well, it may save your life one day." Then, in the next campaign, my friend followed suit with a repeating prophecy of heroes who will rise up and save the world from dying every century. And finally, now we're playing Curse of Strahd, where we hit the, "These are the ancient tools you will need, and are the only ways to defeat the evil." All of these are bad ideas to put into your games, and I am going to tell you why. But first, we must understand why we would want to do something like this in the first place, before we can understand why it is a bad idea. The answer to this question has an easy and a difficult answer. I am going to provide you with both. The easy answer is we put these prophecies in because we are surrounded by them. In TV, movies, games, and even plays, we are constantly hit with the chosen ones, the ancient weapons, and the personal irreversible fates. Here, I'll name a few. Star Wars. Luke is the chosen one that is prophesized to defeat the Sith. And then in the prequels, they had no other ideas, so that role is switched over to Anakin. Then, in the sequels, they really had no other ideas, and now Rey and Kylo are the chosen ones. The Legend of Zelda. Zelda, Link, and Ganon are prophesized to be ancient forces of darkness, light, and power that are constantly cycling and will always return to vanquish each other. Link also is prophesized to be the only one able to defeat Ganon with his Master Sword, an ancient weapon that is the only thing that can seal the darkness. And then in TV we have Supernatural, and if I named all of the prophecies in that show, my head would explode. But the most important and well-written one is Dean and Sam being meat suits for Michael and Lucifer, and them being destined to bring the end of the world. And then in a classic play, Julius Caesar, probably the most famous prophecy of all time, and a perfect example of my point, where a woman who sees the future warns Caesar of his imminent death. We want to put these prophecies in our games because these are the types of stories that we grew up with, the types of stories that are famous and world-renowned, and that is the easy answer. We want to do it because we've seen it. The hard answer is that we put these prophecies in our stories, and everybody else puts these prophecies in their stories because they are easy and effective and hook the audience. Prophecies are an extremely simple way to get an audience interested in the story. That is why they are used so often. People want to hear about the future, and they want to hear about a legendary hero coming and conquering the day. That is easy listening that everyone wants to experience and hear about. So, we as Dungeon Masters want to put this into our D&D games as the writers of the games because we know that our players want to be those prophetic heroes that save the day. And hey, if making our friends heroes of destiny is all it takes for them to pay attention to the story that I have put hours into writing, then hell, I'm going to do that every day of the week. That's easy, but we shouldn't. And here's why. Though everyone, including myself, loves a story with a good prophecy, and they are an easy and effective way to engage players, we cannot put them in our games. And that is because prophecies break a fundamental aspect of Dungeons & Dragons that sets the stories being told through the game system apart from the rest, and that aspect is death. Dungeons & Dragons is a group storytelling tool that is meant to be played as a game with friends. And a huge aspect of that game is death. And dying in D&D is honestly never the end of the story, when dying in something else probably will be the end of the story. In a D&D campaign, whether it is a total party kill or a few lost characters dying, it doesn't end the game or the story being told. It just shifts and changes it, pulling it into a new and interesting direction. But when you start to incorporate prophecies into Dungeons & Dragons, death starts becoming less and less like a natural part of the story. A prophecy foretelling a group of heroes sent to defeat an evil doesn't work when those heroes can die with a simple roll of a dice. And like I said, in my own campaign, I made this mistake. Some of my players' characters died in fantastic and climactic ways, but those deaths soiled the story. I later had to retcon my own prophecy because of those deaths, making the story feel muddled and convoluted. And those characters' personal prophecies got left unfulfilled, making my fortune teller seem like a quack. And in my friend's campaign, where I will say he did a much better job than me, here death was less of a problem. But we then found ourselves limited in the types of stories that we could tell. His prophecy entailed a power that the world bestows onto different people that will call them to fulfill the prophecy. But me and my buddy's characters died on the third session, and the new characters that we wrote were scientists who didn't believe in prophecies. But then we were forced to complete it because that was the only way that the story was ending, because it was a prophecy, which makes the game feel lacking in freedom and creativity, limiting players in the directions that they can take the story. Finally, in Curse of Strahd, we have the prophecy of Madame Eva, where right out of the starting gates, she informs the players of all of the tools that they need to defeat Strahd, along with the locations where those tools are at. And when writing a character for Curse of Strahd, you are either going to make a character that wants to A, escape Barovia, or B, kill Strahd. So this prophecy has now left the players torn. We would like to go out and explore Barovia and meet all of those strange characters, but at the same time, our characters just want to kill Strahd and get out. They have a direct path to do so, so they have no reason to explore the world that is purposefully dangerous and confusing. So to put prophecies in your Dungeons & Dragons game is the worst thing that you can do, because prophecies break everything that makes Dungeons & Dragons work. The creativity, the freedom, and of course, the randomness of the storytelling. So this is the first time I have made a video like this, and I hope you found it interesting, and I definitely hope you liked it. I would really want to know all of your thoughts on my points that I made here, and I also would like to know if you enjoyed this video, so please leave a comment down below. In the next video, I will be discussing how to write stories that involve your players while avoiding these prophecies. So please be sure to subscribe so you don't miss that upload. Prophecies or not, I hope you all have fun playing D&D together.